Hi, and thank you for watching today. Welcome to the webinar, How to Improve Your Digital Reputation, presented by Social Czars. We're going to give you a couple tips here in a very quick webinar on how you can improve your digital reputation with some proven tips that we've used for other clients and that we know work. So here we go. It's a fact. Increasingly, your online reputation is your reputation. And isn't it true that before you meet somebody, don't you Google them? Truth is that people believe the Google search results they see and read about you. And the benefits of a great online reputation, well, they're kind of obvious. You can gain clients, you can gain the attention of prospects. Sometimes it can help with legal issues or perceptions, public perception. It can improve your job prospects and many, many other benefits. Some of the costs of a bad online reputation are equally obvious. It can cause stress, embarrassment, can cost you clients, loss of prospects, legal issues, and it can hurt your job prospects as well. So it's a fact that an online reputation problem cannot fix itself. If you have a situation right now where your online reputation isn't what you'd like it to be, or what's showing up in Google isn't what you would like to be showing up in Google about you or your business or your products, unfortunately, that situation does not fix itself. And it's also a fact that the longer you wait, the harder it is to solve that online reputation problem. The longer you leave bad content up there about you, your business, or your products, the more Google starts to say, well, this must be a good, a search result that's relevant for this person, business, or product, because it's the only thing that's been up there for a while. So the longer you wait, the harder it is to actually dislodge bad information. You have to ask yourself, who do you want to take control of your online reputation, and do you want to take control of it yourself? I think the biggest factor there is that many people aren't active online publishers. And so what Google finds about them is actually information that's been published by other people. They're sort of like a cork on the ocean. They're leaving their reputation up to what's being written about them by other people. And they're not taking an active stance in sort of protecting and improving their own reputation. We're going to show you how to do that today. The good news is that this short webinar is going to help you get a game plan to improve your digital reputation, whatever your current situation is. So who are we? I'm John DeMarchi. I'm the CEO of Social Czars. And Social Czars is an agency that helps businesses and people improve their digital reputation. And by the way, again, no hard sells on this webinar because we don't like that stuff. But if at any point in this presentation you would like to set up a call with us, free, no obligation, etc., just to discuss your digital reputation and maybe how to get a game plan to fix it quickly, there's a link on the bottom of every slide in this presentation. It says calendly.com/socialczars. You can type that into a browser and click on it, and you can just find a 30-minute slot that's available and set up a call with us, and would love to talk to you about it and see if we can be useful. So just know that you have people. Okay. If you're going through a problem and you want to get help, that link right at the bottom of this slide here, if you type that into the browser, http:/calendly.com/socialczars, you can set up a call at any point in this presentation with us at a time that is convenient for you. So just know that as we go through all these slides. So anyway, we're an agency that helps people and businesses improve their digital reputation. Some of our clients include Fortune 500 CEOs and executives, professional athletes, high net worth individuals, lawsuit defendants, international organizations and governments, and businesses that want a better reputation. We also work with celebrities, people who have dealt with or are dealing with challenges to their reputation. And by working with all of these clients, we've seen a lot of common reputation problems, and some of them, and these may or may not be things that you're facing, but if they are, these are things that are not uncommon: bad press, adverse customer reviews, legal issues, marital or divorce situations that spill over online, old news, sometimes stories that might be from the past but that are showing up in front of stories from now about you, bad photos, compromising videos, and the common internet trolls as well. These are all problems we've seen many times for many different clients. So let's start at the beginning. What makes up your online reputation? Well, your online reputation, at least in the United States right now, is pretty much what Google says about you. Okay? Google is responsible for 82% of all US searches, and 90% of people who use Google to do a search never look past the fourth result on page one. So those first four results on page one, that's the ball game. And ideally, you need to win there and for all of page one, but really those first four results are very, very important for you and your business. Now, there are other sites, for sure, that are relevant for specific industries. If you're a hotel, maybe you're TripAdvisor or hotels.com or other sites that rank you. If you're a restaurant, it could be Yelp. There are, if you're a doctor, it could be Health Grades or some of the sites that rank doctors for performance. In each industry, you're going to have different types of websites for sure that will also be relevant. But Google is the big one, and you need to win on Google to have a strong digital reputation. So let's talk about Google for a minute. How does Google find and rank content about you or your products or your business? Well, Google works like this. First, it's going to fetch content from the web that it thinks is about you or your products or your business, depending on what the searcher is searching for, depending on what he or she is typing in that Google box that we're all so familiar with. The second is once that content has been brought back by Google and Google says, aha, we think this content is about you, then it's going to have to rank that content and decide, well, of these 50 things or 50,000 things or however many things it found that it thinks is about you, how does it rank those? One until whatever. So it's a fetch and rank 1-2 punch the way that Google works at a basic level. So let's say that Google is fetching content about you. How does it know that the content is about you? Really think about that question for a minute. I mean, Google is looking at every piece of content that's out there on the wider web. So how would it know that something's about you or your business or your products? Well, the answer is that Google looks for clues, just like a detective might. And the hugely important thing to understand about Google and your digital reputation that Google sort of produces is that Google only knows what it can find. I'll say that again. Google only knows what it can find. So why that's hugely important is that if you don't publish, if you're not actively publishing things and feeding them to Google the right way, then your reputation is really at the mercy of others. Your reputation is the sum total of everything that's out there about you that's been written by other people. And that's why we ask our clients and the people we work with to get in the game, and we help them to publish really good content about themselves and their products and business. A common problem is that many people, and especially successful people, are not active digital publishers. So what that means is that a lot of times their offline reputation might be phenomenal, but their online reputation not so much. Many times we see an offline or in real life reputation that is sterling, that is really top shelf. But online, what shows up when you Google the person or business, it's not reflective of who this person or business really is. That can be really frustrating. But part of the reason why that happens is that I've said before, Google only knows what it can find. And if you're not feeding it content structured properly, which I'm about to explain, Google may not be able to find and recognize that good stuff is actually out there about you. And if you're not publishing at all, then you're leaving things completely to fate and completely to chance. And your reputation will be defined by other people. So important things there. Mostly when Google goes out and looks for clues, it's going to look for things like this. And it looks at about 200 things. I don't want to oversimplify, but as sort of the 2-minute primer here on what Google's looking for. Let's say that someone is searching for you, and by you, I mean you, your products, your business, whatever you're trying to improve search results for is what I'm going to call you. Okay. So let's say Google searching for you. Okay. It's going to go out there first. It's going to say, is there a website out there that's you.com or yourname.com? So if you're John Smith, is there a johnsmith.com? Then it's going to say on a site like that, if such a site exists, is there any content that's yourname.com / your name doing something? So johnsmith.com / John Smith is awesome as a URL. That's the next thing Google's going to look for. Then Google's going to look for your name on high domain authority sites. It's going to say, do you have a professional hub on maybe the American Medical Association site if you're a doctor, or the American Trial Lawyer site if you're a lawyer, or something like that. The main directory sites that are relevant for your industry. Do you have a LinkedIn profile? Do you have a Wikipedia page, and so forth? So it's going to say, is your name, in this case, I use John Smith as an example. Does John Smith have a LinkedIn page? Does he have a Wikipedia page? Okay. Then Google's going to say, is John Smith on any of the big social media platforms? Is there a Facebook page for him? Is there a YouTube page, an Instagram, Pinterest, Quora? And this is for you as well, whatever your name or product is. Do you have a Facebook page for your business or for you personally? Do you have a YouTube channel? Do you have Google Plus, a Twitter, an Instagram, a Pinterest, a Quora? And again, the reason isn't necessarily for you to be some Kim Kardashian 50 gazillion followers on these platforms type person. It's just for you to have places that you completely control everything that's on those pages that also happen to rank really, really well for your name or your business name, your product's name on Google search. That's why social media can be a really interesting tool to use to help yourself with search engine optimization or making your search results better. Google's going to look for it, and it's going to try to find out whether or not your name or your business name is on any of these platforms. Other things Google's going to look for will be highly trafficked articles. So articles that get a lot of visitors and reads and activity online, and then also shared content with your name. So when people go and they click on some content that they think is about you, do they share it widely? Repost or retweet or what have you, depending on the platform. Then Google's also going to look at highly trafficked articles, shared content with your name, as I said. It'll also look for articles that have high engagement. Right. So that articles that people like, comment, share, take action on once they get to the piece of content that they think is about you or your business or your products. So again, these are some of the clues that Google looks for when it fetches content. Okay. So let's say Google now has gone out and someone is searching for you, and Google went out and said, well, is there a website with your name? Is there your name on these social platforms? Is your name on some of these really popular high domain authority websites Google trusts, like Wikipedia or LinkedIn or things like that? Has your name been in any of these articles on sites that are big time trusted by Google, like CNN.com or NewYorkTimes.com, WallStreetJournal.com, whatever? It will look for things like that. And then after it's looked for the clues and fetched all this content that it thinks is about you, now it's going to rank that content. Okay, so let's say it brings back 50 pieces of content. How does it know what's number 1? How does it know what's number 50? So here's how Google ranks content. And again, I'm oversimplifying here just to give you a general ballpark on how these things work. The first thing Google's going to look at when it ranks content is, where's it published? Is the content published on a site that Google trusts? And what sites, the way that Google sort of orders that is every site in the universe has what's called a domain authority. And domain is anything.com or anything.net or anything whatever, right? That's your domain. And so every website that has a domain is going to be ranked from 1 to 100. on Google, and anything close to 100 is really, really good. So a site like Wikipedia will have a domain authority of 100. A site like NASA would have a domain authority of 100. A major news site would be high 90s. A site like Huffington Post would be low 90s. A site like Medium would be high 80s. A local newspaper, especially in a, let's say, not a top 20 market, might be in the mid 80s, and so forth. It'll start to go, a little bit further down as we go. Blogs by influencers in a particular business sector might have a domain authority of 60 or 70. Personal websites could be anywhere from 0 to 50, depending on how influential the actual site is or the person is. So the point being that every site has a rank of 1 to 100. Google's going to first ask, as it's gone out and it's fetched this whole bucket of content that it thinks is about you, your business, or your products. The first question it's going to ask is where was it published? So was it published on a high domain authority site? The second question it's going to look at is, does that web page with the information about you have inbound links from other high domain authority sites? So what does that mean? It means maybe the article was published on Huffington Post, but maybe it has an inbound link from Wikipedia or Medium or something like that, like a site that the article itself is linking out to. Like somebody else has put this article on a web page somewhere, ideally a high domain authority site, and linked into the article. Okay. So you want to have your content about you on high domain authority places to begin with. And then you also want inbound links from other high authority places. Okay. Then Google's going to look at, well, okay, does the content that it thinks is about you, does that let's say it's a web page or an article or something, does that web page or article have lots of web traffic? In other words, a lot of people going there and checking it out. And especially true if it's keyword targeted web traffic, meaning not just a lot of people went to the page, but a lot of people actually went to Google, typed your name or your business name into a search box, and then based on the results they saw, click through to this content, this page, right? That's keyword targeted traffic. If you have a lot of that, that's a great thing for Google search ranking, to push content up the ranking, especially good stuff you like. Google's also going to look at when people actually go to the page, the web page of the content about you, do they spend time there? Or do they just click in and say, oh yeah, I read a sentence and I'm out? So let's say it's a video. When people go to the page, do they watch the video? Let's say it's an article. When people go to the page, do they stay and read the whole thing, or do they bounce out of there in like 2 or 3 seconds? It's a really important metric for Google, and it makes sense, right? Google's trying to rank content about you, and it wants to give the searcher, whoever's typing your name in a box and getting the Google results, wants to give them, he or she, the best possible experience. So it's not going to suggest content to the searcher that people just go to and leave, right? It's going to suggest content to the searcher that is on a credible site, high domain authority, that other credible sites with high domain authority are inbound linking to, that has a lot of traffic. So it's been proven by a decent sample size of people have said, yeah, this is relevant content about this particular search term, which in this case would be you. And when people go to that page of content, they actually stay there a while. These are all metrics that make sense, right? Intuitively, why that would matter to Google. And again, we're talking about how Google will rank the content that it has found that it thinks is about you. It'll look at metrics like this to say, what should be number 1? What should be number 2? And then Google's also going to look at, well, is the content shared? So if I search for content about you and I find something and it's on a site I trust and then the Google trusts, and it's got inbound links from other sites that Google trusts, and the page has a lot of web traffic and I spend time on it and then I share it as a link, that's also a huge marker for Google, where Google says, aha, this must be valuable to the searcher on a specific term because he or she went in, found it, stayed a while, and then not only did that, but shared that content. And same thing here driving high engagement. Engagement can be likes, comments, or shares. Took action on the page once they got there. Google looks at that as a really important sign as well for content and pushing things up in the rankings about you. And then, as I think I mentioned earlier, sites that Google trusts with the high domain authority sites, Google's also going to look at, was this content published on clearly identifiable social platforms that you control? So if there's content out there about somebody, but there's also content out there about you that you've actually published about yourself that's on your business page, sometimes that can be helpful to you in pushing content up Google ranks as well. Because again, Google's looking for content that it can trust. It's trying to serve the best and most relevant content possible to searchers. So it's just another thing that they look at. So to win on Google, I realize we just dropped a lot of different pieces of that. Okay. The bottom line is you want content that Google can find easily with those clues. So it says, aha, this is about you. This is about your business, about your product clearly. And content that is connected to or published on sites that Google really trusts. Okay. Those are sort of the two things that Google's looking for in fetch and rank. And Google looks at many, many more things, but if you get these things right, you can really move the needle on search results very quickly. And again, I'll very quick pause for 15 seconds. If you have liked what you've heard and you want to talk to us about improving your reputation, again, there's a link at the bottom of every page on this presentation, calendly.com/socialczars. You can see it in the lower right corner there. If you type that into a browser at any point in this presentation, you can set up a free 30-minute call with us and just talk to us about any problem you might be having with digital reputation. If we can help you game plan it, we're happy to do it. No obligation, no hard sell, none of that. I hate that hard sale stuff. But just because you're giving us your time watching this, it's only fair that we should give you a little of our time as well, and see if we can be useful to you if you're dealing with a reputation problem. So just know you have people if you want them at any point right there. Okay. So a lot of people will say, well, okay, now I understand a little bit about what makes up my reputation, why Google's so important, how Google works. That's what we've covered so far. Okay. And hopefully that's been informative. Maybe not, but hopefully it has been. I guess what we'll talk about now is how we generally have worked with clients and what you can do too, self-service, to improve your own digital reputation. So the way we like to do it is we do it in 4 steps, and they're quick. It's not something that takes forever. The first step is to get digital reconnaissance done. What does that mean? It means getting a handle on everything that's being said about you, your company, or your products out there in cyberspace, out there on the web. So by you, it could be, like I said, your name, your business, your products, keywords and phrases that identify buyers of products. If you're a doctor, or let's say you're a dentist, right? The way that people would search for a dentist, there are probably 10 or 15 ways that are very common in your specific area. How do you rank on those searches? If somebody searches for dentists in some suburb of Denver, I don't even know the suburbs of Denver, did you rank number 1 or 2 or 3 or 4? Why not? That type of thing, right? So understanding what's being said out there at all times, what the search volume is, and how you rank in that search volume for the keywords and phrases that most matter to you. Also understanding how your competitive set ranks. So if you have rivals locally in business or nationally, are they better? Are they worse than you? Are there things they're doing that you can learn from and fast follow or do better? That type of thing. Getting that knowledge up front is so helpful and saves so much time. Usually this can be done in a matter of a couple of days. Take some grunt work, but once you get it, it's sort of like that Sun Tzu, every battle's won before it's ever fought, that they say in Wall Street, the Bud Fox, Gordon Gekko scene. That's exactly the point here, right? Once you get the picture of what are you up against, how do you rank now in search? Why don't you rank the way that you wish you rank? What is negative about you that's out there? How much of a threat is it to your reputation? Really getting a handle on that. some of the technologies that we use, I'll just give you a couple. We use more than these, but some of them that are really, really good for this type of reconnaissance work. Brand 24 is one that we use. Another one, a lot of people use Hootsuite. We also like to use BuzzSumo to lens out influencers quickly. So if you're, say, a designer in New York City and I'm making this up, and you make dresses or something, the influencers in your space are going to be enormously different than if you're a professional football player for the New York Giants, right? The influencers that would matter in their world that can move the needle on search might be different. The point is you want to find whoever's most influential in whatever you do and connect with those people in social media and hopefully make some friends that can help amplify your content whenever you have something to say. But all of this is under what we call the digital reconnaissance step. The second step that we do of 4 is to set up a digital array. And that starts with understanding where are you now and where should you be. If you think about giving yourself as much power as possible, what you really want to have set up is almost like an assembly line where when you have something to say, it gets out there with the maximum impact. It goes to your website. If you don't have a website, you probably should have one. It goes to your blog on that website. It goes to your social media hubs, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, Google+, YouTube if it's video related. Those are the biggies. There are others that can work in Quora's Q&A sites, things like that. Reddit can be useful, but you want to have at least a website and at least a couple big social channels right out of the box, because Google's going to find them and Google's going to start looking for them for content about you. And that's content you completely control. Okay. That's 100% under your control. And that's why that's so important to set up. Wikipedia page is another one, depending on the size of your business. There's some others that are out there, but think of this as just a couple different hubs where you're publishing great content about yourself and your business and your products, or you're publishing great customer reviews about you and your business and your products that you can find with that reconnaissance step that we did moments ago, and bring it out here and say, hey, look at this. Look at these great things that are being said. And you're saying that so Google can find it. And Google can say, aha, this is content about you and it's great. And it's verified because it's on sites we trust. And look at this. And they start pushing up the rankings. Also, web press releases we use a lot as sort of a strategic weapon, web PR, because they are automatically included on hundreds, if not thousands of sites in some particular industries. Great way to get inbound links for SEO. It's such an interesting way to build authority, specifically for, less common keywords and phrases. Like, you're not going to win dentists in search across America. But if you're looking to win dentists in a specific suburb of a specific city for a specific procedure, that's something that's absolutely winnable in search. And web press releases are a great way to get content like that out there, and make an impact. But that's a longer conversation. We could do a whole webinar just about that. So the first step, like we said, was reconnaissance. Second step here, digital array, getting that all set up. So knowing what's being said about you, and when there's good stuff said about you, finding ways to publish it and push it out. Also, when you're making your own content, finding it and pushing it out. And that's really the third step. The third step is making sure that you generate traffic to the content that you're producing, both keywords based traffic, social shares of the traffic, time on site, and engagement. There are a lot of ways to do this. The biggest way is to make sure that your traffic is constantly in front of audiences for whom it's going to be most relevant. If you just publish content on a digital array, let's say you set up the digital array that we just described, and you just publish content to all those pages, that's good. But if you don't take the next step of sort of syndicating that content to audiences who you know are going to like the information. And you can do that with promoted posts. You can do that with promoted tweets. You can use, a little bit of paid to kind of give it a little bit of a boost and get your stuff in front of the right people who can like it, share it, comment on it, and give Facebook, give Google all those markers that we talked about earlier that say this is trusted content from a trusted source on a trusted platform that people like, that they're engaging with, that type of content will start moving up very, very quickly in the ranks. For your main keywords and phrases. And then the last piece, and probably as important as any of the ones that we mentioned before, is making sure that anything you publish has high domain authority inbound links. So making sure if you publish something on your website or blog that influencers are linking into it, that top sites are syndicating it in your business space, and influencers in whatever sector you're in are retweeting and republishing, that other syndicators that are available are used to maximum advantage. Many sites with high domain authority accept submissions. And sometimes you can get things on sites like Medium or Huffington Post or Inc. or Entrepreneur or others. Many top bloggers will accept guest posts and things like that as well. Getting personal blog network inbound links is another thing that we do a lot of. And also picking up inbound links from .govs and .edus and other sites that'll give you a link. There are ways to sort of do this that we do a lot of and that are definitely useful and definitely work. Okay. So going back just for a second, I hate to go backwards. The proven system again is get the big picture with reconnaissance, set up your digital array and publish to it, get traffic to all of those things in a way that Google likes, keyword traffic, social shares, time on site, and then get those high domain authority inbound links from a variety of different sources. You don't have to get all of these, but if you can get a couple of these, it makes a huge difference on the SEO ranking for any piece of content that you're trying to push for. So does our system work? Well, over 100 of our clients think so. We have built our business completely on referrals, just the reputation part over the last 4 years. It's now by far the largest part of our business. It's been battle tested too in the hottest crisis communications fires. We've dealt with a lot of digital crises. And many times when somebody's digital reputation is not where they think it needs to be, that can be enormously stressful. And I understand that completely. And we understand that completely as a company. But there's also digital crisis when something hits the news and it spreads like a wildfire. We've all seen it. We've been called in on many of those projects by a lot of brands and people to try to work with brands to turn that around as quickly as possible and to set up sort of a digital defense for them to help in the future, and also digital rebuilding in terms of real time in the present. So if you're going through a really heavy duty crisis like that, and like I said, just want to get a third party opinion and maybe some advice and just want to bounce some ideas off someone, type that link in the lower right corner into a browser, calendly.com/socialzars, and you can set up a 30-minute call with us. No obligation, no hard sells, nothing like that. And would be happy to talk to you, and I'd be happy to talk to you. I mean, that goes right into my personal calendar. So, I would be delighted to chat and see if we can be useful. But we have done this for a lot of people. We've seen a couple of things, and hopefully can point you in the right direction. So a lot of people might look at what we just said and say, okay, if you look at all of the tips and techniques that we talked about and some of these things, you might understand them, but you might say, geez, that's a lot of work and that's a big mountain to climb. You might feel like you're at the foot of Mount Everest, because there is a lot that goes into fixing SEO, and it's not something that's super quick, and it's not something that's super easy to do. Some of what we just walked through will absolutely make a difference for you, but there are levels of making a difference, right? So the good news of this is that yes, it does take time, and yes, it does take budget to solve a reputation problem, especially a big one. And anybody who says, oh yeah, they can fix Google search and, make page one beautiful in 5 seconds or something, is not telling you the truth. Things they don't take forever, but they take anywhere from 2 to 6 months, generally speaking, depending on the severity of what you're dealing with. And the budgets can be, very small, or they can be significant, again, depending on what we're talking about and what kind of problem it is. If it's a situation where it's a single piece of content from a source that's not a high domain authority source that's bad on page one of Google, yeah, it can usually be rooted out pretty quickly. If it's a situation where you've got 10 things from places like the New York Times and Wall Street Journal that are adverse on page one of your Google search about you, and sources that are 90 plus, again, fixable, but that's a longer project and a much more complicated surgery. One of those is fixing a blister, or the other is getting a total hip or something, right? So they're just different levels of things, but there's always a solution to everything. It just needs a game plan and a process to be put to it. We've done small and we've done big. But here is the fact. Okay. If you are dealing with a reputation crisis, I will guarantee you, and you don't have to take it from me, you can take it from anybody else too, online reputation problems are not going to solve themselves. And the longer you let it wait, the harder it is to solve the problem. So the good news is this. You don't have to go it alone at all. There are plenty of firms out there that do social crisis work. We are one of them. It's what we do. And digital reputation enhancement. It's what we do for a lot of clients. We've seen a lot of different starting points. Some have been easy and some have been, wow, that's a big problem, but let's get to work and let's solve it. And again, if you want to talk to us and have us do the nerd work, all the stuff that we just talked about, we have an army of nerds at your disposal, and we like it. We like the nerd stuff. And figuring out all these links and digital arrays and social reconnaissance and all that stuff. We like it. It's what we do. It's like breathing for us. And companies in our space. There are others as well, but we definitely would be happy to help you if you want to talk to us. Again, the link is in the lower right corner if you do, so that you get to relax. And you can basically say, solve the problem. And we can say, here's what we can do. And here's what it's going to cost. And we can haggle and you can figure it out. And then you just get to go relax and go to the beach and we'll fight the war for you. Or the battle, or the take on the challenge. The point here is that your time matters. And we're honored that you took time to watch our video today. You can call us free anytime. You see the link in the lower right corner. For a limited time, free call our CEO, 30 minutes of free consultation. If we can help you, great. If we can't, we'll refer you to others who can. Either way, you win. And we might just be able to say, look, if you want to go the self-serve route, this is what you need to do to sort of solve your problem. And then you can look at it from there and decide what's the best path forward for you or your business. So anyway, if you want to start fixing your reputation right now, you can schedule a 30-minute call, again, at any convenient time for you, by just taking the link that's there and sticking it in a browser, typing it into a browser, and setting up a call with us. And I think, let me see if I can do this here, setting up the link on the far right. Give me 5 seconds, guys. I think I can get this and say calendly.com/socialsars. I'll put the link up in the far right as well, so that hopefully you can click on this. There it is. Okay. So if you see on the far right here, it says calendly.com/socialsars. You should be able to click on this link and go right into our calendar, and schedule a call if that's useful to you. If not, no worries at all. We very much appreciate you taking time today, and we wish you all the best with any reputation challenge that you're facing. There is help out there. If we can be useful, you know how to find us. And thanks again for your time today. We really are honored that you spent a couple minutes with us. Thanks so much. Have a great day. Bye.